Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated. Man, how's it going?
Good, man. It's good to finally meet you. I've seen your name around forever.
Yeah.
So appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming.
Who do we have today, Joe? We have
Eric Hutchinson.
in the flesh.
I just saw your art. I was playing in, where was I? Chicago City Winery. And they've got like a huge mural of yours that you did.
2 of them.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was, they asked me to do that, and then I got to play on David Letterman. That same sort of week, I finished those.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was a good week.
Yeah, and then we used those in the backdrop on David Letterman.
That's cool. I know a couple other artists that like they do their own visual art and they use it as the back. I've always been jealous of that kind of thing. You know, it's such a cool. How was David Letterman for you?
It was amazing.
Was he nice? Did you talk to him at all?
Yeah, he was nice to me for some reason. Yeah,
You've been on multiple times.
Yeah, I went on a bunch of times.
He was lucky enough.
But
so he was a fan.
Yeah, but they never let anybody mess with their backdrop before. But for some reason they let us, and they came to pick him up at like dawn. And I had just finished them that
They weren't
night.
dry.
They weren't.
I remember.
Yeah,
They weren't dry yet. Ehud, I think, went.
Yeah. It was
And then the union guys had to roll them out on
the
Times
sidewalk.
Square.
Well, I'm sure they love that.
Those paintings, right? So
Yeah.
they were wet still in the middle of Times Square. Those
Jeez.
they were pissed
the
at
same
us.
ones that were at the City Winery in
That's
Chicago.
crazy.
Isn't that funny?
That's so cool.
It's a funny
though.
story that they traveled that, you know.
Yeah, I guess the
Art
live
is-
performance is the closest to that in music world, but there's something so cool about that. You know, when you're looking at a painting, it is the painting. You know, like it's been all over the place, and it's still there. You know.
Well, it's a performance across time because a painter is performing, but you don't see the performance you don't receive it in the same moment like you do with music.
My favorite thing in a museum to get as close as the security guards will let me, and just really like you
Just
can
check it out.
when you can see like the brush stroke and everything. It's like this is
That's
as close as I can
performance.
get to the moment.
Right.
That,
Well, yeah, it's
this artist was there. You know.
It's preserved. I paint live, so painting's a big part of how I still make music.
You paint live with the do you music
I
at the same
sing
time?
and paint at the
Wow.
same time. Yeah,
That's cool.
I'll like you know how you'll have some songs that don't have a verse chorus change, like
Right.
it's one chord progression sort of thing. Do you have any like that?
Not that have paintings that go with it. But
No,
yeah,
but
I gotcha.
yeah. So you could just loop that and then just paint and then
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So you'll do it at the show, or you'll do it a separate thing?
I do it at the show.
Wow.
I do it at every show, just about. Yeah.
And then what happens
Sometimes
to the painting?
two. Usually, either sell them or sell them later.
Okay, got
They become the backdrop of the next show.
it. Right, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'll like rework them because there's an energy that goes into a painting that when you're doing it in front of people that is weird, like different than when you're on your own. Just kind of like with music.
Yeah. Speaking of different, you know, I'm just looking at how cool you're dressed right now and what I'm wearing, and I just want to say for the audience, I wasn't sure if this would be videotaped or not. I just took a chance, but I'm kind of trying to multitask today, so I'm going running after this.
But
and,
see, you're like catching me at a weird, like I am definitely sort of like on the road.
You've
vibe.
got the full rock star vibe,
right?
going.
But I don't normally. I
no,
normally
he just-
come in here in athletic clothes too, dude. Like I like have Vibram 5 fingers on, like on
Yeah,
multiple episodes.
Okay.
So like you're catching me because we just got off the road. So
Cool.
it's like, and we woke up today. It was like a gig last night.
Oh, really?
So I'm just in that zone.
I got you. Where were you?
You know
last,
what, you
where
know
were
what
you
I
last
mean?
night?
But,
Yeah, totally.
But normally, like, Jersey at a house concert.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, we did a Canadian run. Like it was super fun.
Nice.
Just went up to Toronto and stuff. So where do you live?
I live here in the city. I live over in Gramercy area.
Oh man,
And
how'd you score that?
Gramercy area, so like Gramercy
I got you.
adjacent. I don't have a key to the park or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm a Manhattan person. I don't know. Where do you live? You live down
I
here?
live in the East Village.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I'm thinking about moving to Harlem.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
No Brooklyn for you.
I already did that.
Okay.
But I would love Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's great.
Yeah.
When you live in Brooklyn, you get both Brooklyn and the city.
Right.
And Manhattan.
But Brooklynites get mad if you call it the city because they're like, we're the city.
Oh, yeah.
Why aren't you
But
saying
see, I lived in Brooklyn for 20-something years.
Wow.
And I never got mad at anybody.
Yeah. It's because you're a chill guy.
Because I understood. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get both worlds.
Totally.
Because you're going to go to the city. But when you live in the city, you don't really go to Brooklyn as much.
It's true. I like to think I know a lot about Manhattan, but I don't know anything about Brooklyn. So, like, one of these days we're just going to move there, and it'll be like a whole new place for me.
Yeah.
I lived in Williamsburg when I first moved to the city, but...
Where'd you move from?
I'm more of a Manhattanite. I'm from Washington, D.C. originally.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to school up in Boston, and then I lived in
Emerson.
LA.
You went to Emerson?
Yes. Yeah.
That's like a very artsy vibe,
it is.
right?
Yeah. I met my wife there, who's a costume designer.
Sorry to cut you off, but you can like pick your own major, right?
I guess so. I didn't do that. I guess it's
you can
more
invent one.
I guess it's more popular now. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I randomly was doing a session in Brooklyn the other day, a recording session, and it turned out at the end of the session, the engineer turned out to have gone to Emerson, and he claimed to be either the last person who created his own major or created a specific type of major or something. But yeah, mine was I was just a film major, so it was a little more straightforward. But yeah, Emerson's at least when I was there, it was very, it's very artistic and
smart people go there.
Creative people go there for sure.
Okay. That's
not
where I should have gone in an alternate
yeah?
universe. I didn't go to college, but if I did, that's where I want to go.
Sometimes I have people ask if they should go to Emerson, and I'm like, if you think there's any chance you're going to do anything other than entertainment, maybe go somewhere else. But like, if you're just set on like the entertainment world is for me, I just want to learn everything about it, I want to be around people like that, then Emerson was amazing,
Right.
But it wasn't necessarily like, at least for me, it wasn't a super well-rounded education. But I didn't want one.
But you studied film.
Yeah.
What kind of film? What do you want to be, a director?
Yeah, I wanted to be a writer-director. I was doing a bunch of stuff with my comedy troupe at the time, and I was kind of always doing...
You were in a comedy improvisation or something?
It was more like sketch comedy. We did a lot of like... It was funny because I'm old enough that we like just missed YouTube. Like we were like making all this stuff, and like...
Oh, really?
It was like we didn't have any way to share it, and we had like...
If only someone would make a platform.
Yeah, right. And like 2 or 3 years afterwards, YouTube showed up, and I was like, this would have been so helpful,
Yeah.
Like, and who knows, maybe I'd be doing that instead of this. But yeah, I kind of always did music as well as kind of just a...
Did you want to be on
release.
SNL or anything?
I
like
did.
That? Yeah, I can see that.
And now actually my wife works at SNL, so I'm sort of living vicariously through her.
That's so funny the way we manifest these things back in.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. She's been there for a couple years now. So
what's she do over there?
She's a costume designer. She does all the pre-tape stuff, so all like the music videos and commercials and things like that. And
she couldn't have helped you out with the outfit today?
I know, she would be very embarrassed to find out.
Bro, you live with a costume designer.
I know. It is rough, sometimes
I'm just kidding. I think you look great, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've gotten to see a lot of the inside workings of SNL through her, which has been really cool.
That's cool.
And I don't think I would have made it there, like I'm not built for that world.
I don't know. I could see you some of the new jams I could see you performing those on SNL.
I mean, sure, I'd love to perform on there, but I don't think I could have been a writer performer on there.
So what kind of film directing did you want to do? Are you like inspired by Martin Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino or what?
That was more like
Wes Anderson.
He was very popular when I was there. No, I was kind of more straight ahead. Like my favorite movie in college was Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Like I liked sort of smart, high concept stuff, but still kind of based in comedy and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
what's your favorite movie of all time?
I don't know. I've said Groundhog Day for so long that it sort of is that, but
it's becoming like Groundhog Day.
It's true, though.
Your answer to that,
I've watched, yeah, exactly. And I've watched it so much.
Yeah.
Does
it ever change?
It does, actually.
See how meta that is?
It is.
Something like you keep watching Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's you must know. Do you know Roger Greenawalt?
It sounds familiar. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
he's if you knew him, you would know him. He's anyway. He pointed out how Exactly. Like me watching this movie so many times that I can't actually enjoy it anymore.
But it is Groundhog Day too.
Well, because every Groundhog Day I would watch it. So like now I just know it so well. But anyway, I don't really enjoy it enough anymore. But I could make a strong argument that I love the Lord of the Rings movies the most. Or I don't know. What's your favorite movie?
I don't know. I was thinking I had an answer for this, but now I can't remember. I don't want to just say The Matrix.
Say The Matrix.
But it's probably The Matrix. Sweet.
He likes it so much he put it in a song.
Fucking love it. Yeah, I did on my last album.
Awesome. Are you excited? They're making a new Matrix, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Matrix
Anything
4.
Keanu Reeves is in, I'm excited about. Come on.
He's had a good, like, I just feel like there's
He's
never been a
elevated.
better time to be Keanu Reeves. Like, people love him more than ever now.
I know. He's a very lovable dude.
The new Matrix is coming out the same day the new John Wick is coming out. So he has 2 movies.
Is that
coming
true?
Yeah,
What a
this
hero.
year.
What a
John Wick
what a modern
4
day hero.
and the Matrix 4
They should really
are
have it
coming
be
out.
it should be a crossover world, you
Should
know?
be like the Keanu Reeves Day, like international.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember, I take a lot of pride because I remember, like, when he was first coming out, people were calling him, like, Keanu, and I was like, I'm telling you, it's Keanu. I saw it on Entertainment Tonight. It's Keanu. He's Hawaiian. So I understand.
What about Point Break?
You know, I've never seen.
great.
Are you
one.
fucking kidding?
I
Bro.
wouldn't kid you.
Go home
Let's take
today.
a break. Let's take a break.
Let's
Go
take-
watch
We'll
it.
take a point break.
And we'll resume.
So when did you shift to music, or had you always been playing music and that just sort of dominated, or
I
what?
was always doing music, and I would sort of go back and forth. You know, I had like a video camera at home, and I'd make movies, but then I'd get way into the music stuff. And when it was time to go to figure out what I was going to do after high school, I just decided I didn't want to study music because I was concerned it would start to rob me of like the joy of it. You know, like studying it too much, I thought would kind of make it feel like a job, kind of. And I actually ended up dealing with a lot of that stuff later when it became my profession instead. But so I went to film school and loved it, and was just kind of doing music. And then I got out of school and was like, I don't know, making an album seems way easier than making a film. I think I'm just going to do that for a while.
Well, it's more, you can possibly do it more independently. Like a film seems like, I don't know, but I guess
It's
nowadays people make independent films.
Yeah, I mean, but it's another, you don't have to rely on as many people and
Right,
everything.
and it's even with the independent ones, it seems like, well, we spent like $10 million.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, wait, how? What?
Yeah, it's a lot of people. And
Independently
A lot of money.
wealthy.
Yeah.
yeah. So it was sort of a simple, pragmatic answer to just be like, well, I'll do this for a while. And then I just became sort of obsessed with like getting better at it and, you know, being able to play at this club or open for this person, and kind of just like got way into it.
You used to do open mics, right?
I did lots of open mics. Yeah. I did open mics here in New York and in LA and Club Passim and Harvard Square, and open mics were good, but I guess I was known for like, I'd show up and play my song and pass my mailing list around and leave. And like, I wasn't really there for the hang, and
You were ambitious.
I guess
You were a cutthroat open micer.
Yeah.
They should make a comedy movie about the open mic scene and have that guy
boy.
too. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
it's definitely a guy.
Like,
But there's the other guy too that's like there all night and gets up and plays
Right.
like 8 songs eventually, you know. and
right,
it's
like it's his
person-
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I have nowhere to be, you know. But I never really loved hanging out in the clubs that much. So
Right. That would be a funny movie.
yeah,
Like the spiritual guy that's been at the open mic night forever.
totally.
But he's like guiding all the other people, the young people
Yeah,
coming up.
I could now be in different.
Played by Sam Elliott, like an old
Ooh.
country guy. Like I'm thinking of Point Break, or what's the Sam? Oh no, I'm thinking of Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, yeah.
I went from Point Break, Keanu, and that's with Patrick Swayze.
Right. This is like
To,
6 degrees.
to
of
Roadhouse, then
Patrick
to Sam
Swayze.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, now I would be a different cliche at the open mic, which is like the guy that was signed to the major label, and like all the young people want to ask me a question, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about that stuff, man. I'm just here to play my new tunes.
So how did you get signed? Was the Perez Hilton thing? Did that kick it off?
Well, I got signed before that to Maverick Records.
Oh, right,
which
Madonna's
then,
label.
yeah, which fell apart like almost immediately. Like I got signed and then it fell apart, and then I ended up making this album on my own, and just by sheer luck, it kind of got into Perez Hilton's hands.
And that was your first album.
Yes.
And where'd you make that?
I made it in LA and in Boston, and I kind of
Where'd you record?
I recorded at New Monkey Studios in Van Nuys, which was Elliott Smith's studio at the
Wow.
end, and he wasn't there anymore, but it had been taken over. But it was all the original. He was, way into the Beatles and stuff, so it was all his gear and everything. It was a little tiny studio, but it was fun. But yeah, I made most of the album there, and kind of went broke doing it, and didn't really know what I was gonna do, and I just.
Were you living out there?
I was living at home with my parents at that point. I had moved back home because I was touring so much. I was just like, can I just stay here when I'm not out on the road and save some money and stuff? And
your mom's a viola player that played with John Denver.
That was my
right?
grandmother.
Or
actually.
your grandmother.
Yeah, you did your research. I appreciate it, man.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a viola player, and she played with everybody. She would get hired when people came through the DC area and they needed string sections. So she played with Tony Bennett, Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin.
That's your grandma.
Yeah.
And were you close to her?
Very close to her, yeah. But she was also...
what was her name?
Her name was Audrey.
Oh, man.
And she was the most vocal about me not becoming a musician, actually.
Funny.
Yeah.
She knew.
Yeah.
She was trying to tell you, bro.
She was trying to protect me or something,
What'd she say?
She said, get a different job. She would, whenever I'd be home, she'd be like, well, there's this place is hiring down there. Maybe you should go look at that. And
that's funny.
Yeah, she understood it was about the hustle. But then when it started going well for me, she was very proud.
That's nice.
And supportive.
What do your folks do?
My mom was a teacher. She just retired a couple years ago, and my dad was he was first like a housing contractor when I was growing up, and then he did a total switch of his life and became like a web programmer.
Oh yeah, and he passed away too.
He did,
right?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, coming up on the 1 year anniversary actually. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year.
How has the running been helping with that?
Oh man, I hate how much better I feel when I exercise. It's so annoying.
I love it, man.
No, I mean I do love it, but I'm like, I just wish I could feel that good without exercising all the time.
You just
too.
can't, right?
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, for me. So I mean, the running is really helpful,
especially for getting over trauma.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, my wife talked me into running. We ran the New York Marathon in October. Yeah, that was more running than I needed to do, but it was a good thing to do. But the training for it was, I think, really helpful. It was just like so much running.
Well, they say when you achieve something, it's not about the achievement; it's about the person you have to become to achieve that.
Yeah, and that was what's funny about the day of the race. The race wasn't that hard, because I'd done so much training. It almost felt like cheating a little bit. It was like, well, of course I can run this. I've run it already 4 times, or it was just sort of
you made sure.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm a kind of I like to be a prepared person.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't so much.
This.
It wasn't not cocky, but more it was oh right, we did enough training that I'd come across the things that might be a problem if you hadn't really trained before you went running, and I sort of saw people cramping up and things, but I had at that point learned this is the maximum speed I can run and finish it, which was slow, but I don't care. I just wanted to finish.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not a super fast runner either.
Yeah.
Not really.
Do you run, how long of a distance do you like to run?
It depends if I'm in the zone. I did a couple months recently where I did 100 miles each month.
Wow.
So I was running a lot, But
I like that idea of counting it by the month.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It was fun.
I think there's I think about that a lot with, I'm a big to-do list, checklist guy or whatever, but it's so much better to have a more zoomed out perspective of what you're doing as opposed to, well, if I didn't get it done today, then it doesn't count. But yeah, it's what does the month look like, or what am I trying to get accomplished in this year?
So are you going to keep doing the marathons?
No.
Some people like Eddie Izzard, then he runs a marathon every day or whatever.
Yeah,
and
I don't want to do that.
And what about going ultra, like Rich Roll?
Nope. My brother-in-law, Adrian Spencer, you can follow him on Instagram. He's an ultra marathoner, and he came to the New York one.
I heard you say that in an interview.
Yeah, and he ran it twice as fast as I did, the New York Marathon, literally twice as fast as I did.
Yeah,
but
so you're done with it.
Not with that much running. I like to run 5 miles.
That's about my scene.
I just like to run. I put on a podcast, maybe this one.
Yeah.
And
hey, runners out there, keep going, dog.
Yeah.
You got this. Keep moving. Push. So yeah,
I just need enough to get the endorphins going and feel, but also so many of my ideas come together when I'm running, you know.
Well, the brain arose to facilitate movement. Some biologist told me that at a party, and it blew my mind because I got into boxing and way into yoga and into running, and I thought, what am I, a dumb guy? I'm an athlete now. But that's not that athletes are dumb, okay?
No, I gotcha.
You know what I mean? I just was like, what am I, vain?
There's there's the music versus the jock world or whatever.
Right.
You know?
I was still in that paradigm or whatever. And then when he said that, I was like, oh, shit. So the actual purpose of your brain is for movement. So when you're moving a lot, then all of a sudden that's why inspiration comes in. That's why the good thoughts come, because your brain is like firing on all cylinders.
Right. I love that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It's just a small shift of perception, but it like does something.
Do you write songs when you run?
No, I don't write songs when I mean, I might have an idea, or that's what I'm saying though, is like life might not be making sense or whatever, a project's not making sense, and I go running, and there'll be like a part of it that just connects while I'm running, like because I'm thinking like that, like I'm not thinking about it, and it's like, wait, that would work if this came together, or why don't I do this? And that sort of thing is helpful. Or sometimes I will stop in the middle of the run to like make a couple of notes and then keep going or something. But I don't know. I like to say I'm always writing songs, you know? Like right now I'm writing a song, man.
Well, your subconscious probably is.
I had a really hard time in the beginning because I didn't really know anybody growing up that had a job that looked like ours, you know? Like I was like, you get up, you go to work from 9 to 5, you come home, and that's how a job is. And if you're not working those hours, then you're being... And and then I was being lazy or something. So it took me a really long time to feel like comfortable with just like my work doesn't look the same, and I never know what I'm doing that's going to inspire me to do something different. And so these days I'm much more open to like it's all part of the process, you know.
Do you have like a morning routine, or do you have a specific time you wake up, or are you loose?
Yeah, well, these days I have a 18-month-old daughter, so things are even more.
She sets the schedule.
She does a little. We set the schedule, but she keeps the schedule.
Yeah,
you know.
I know.
So, but it's like the morning's kind of getting up and just. It's actually that stuff's helpful for me. I was just doing a little run of shows myself, and there's something about being on tour that I really like. The part I like is like there's only one task really. By the end of the day, it's like do the show. If you did the show, then that's why you were here, you know. And
right.
Like, I've been sort of trying to look at things that way in my home life too, of like what's the one thing that needs to get done today for me to feel like I did things, and then everything else is kind of fluid or whatever. But I like having sort of that structure in the morning of like, okay, I get up, I gotta walk the dog, I'm gonna feed my daughter, and like it sort of just gives some structure of like I've already done these things before. I'm hearing myself talk about it a lot, but I just have always dealt with a lot of guilt of like I'm not doing enough. I'm not.
Yeah, I have that too, man. What do you think that comes from? Dysfunctional childhood, probably.
Maybe. I think it could be.
I have that too, though, in the worst way. And sometimes I'm like, man, dude, I could do like a million things and kill it and still have that. Be like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Like, can you cut yourself some slack?
Yeah, it's really hard.
You know?
Yeah. I'm here to tell you, cut yourself some slack.
I'm telling you that too, man. Right back at you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I also think, not to get too intense about this, but I do think it's
intense.
I think there's a lot of it's built into a lot of American ideals, right? Like the whole idea of the American dream is like if you work hard enough, you can become anything. And so like you're always supposed to be working. Like and I'm sort of starting to push back against that some now as I'm maybe
getting a little older.
Yeah,
and
I'm just
having
like
fun.
That's not the point. You know, I think a lot of the culture is, you know, you're hearing a lot more about like work-life balance and stuff like that. But I just sort of feel like there's this feeling of like if you're not working all the time, then you're lazy, or like, you know, we sort of take pride in like we only take 2 weeks off a year, and every other country you take the whole summer off. That's not how you get anything done.
Right.
But what's the point?
Yeah, I've been listening to Abraham Hicks a lot about manifesting. Do you ever listen to that
tell
kind
me
of
more.
stuff?
I've been talking about manifesting with my
check
wife.
out Abraham Hicks, because she talks about like, you know, when you want to manifest things, you have to like access your vortex, and like the energy you put into a thing is what you're going to get back from it. Like, so if you put in ease and not stress, and you feel good, and that's when like you keep and gratitude, and then you manifest more things to be grateful for.
You sort of get what you put out.
That type of thing. So if you're at things like in this like hyper stressed, like beating yourself up way, then that's what you're going to manifest.
Right.
More of that. So it's like you got to be cautious about the energy you put into things.
My wife wants me to make a vision board. My wife, she's a known manifester. Like
I believe in all that.
Well, so I've been like struggling with it though. We're getting ready to do it. I sort of made a list of things, but I'm trying to find this line.
Put some Grammys on it. Put some Grammys.
Well, this is
I have Grammys on mine.
You do? Did you make a vision board?
Oh, fuck yeah,
Did you cut it out or you drew it?
No,
you painted it or something?
I have an app.
No.
Bro, I do.
There's a vision board app?
There's multiple vision board apps, dude.
So what is it?
Just get with it.
So is yours just on your phone?
No, it's on my iPad.
Okay. Did you print it out or something or no?
No, I just look at it on the iPad.
Just look at it. So what else is on there? Grammys?
Some chicks in some bikinis.
Nice.
A house on the beach.
A house on the beach.
Yeah. You use the bro vision board app.
Exactly.
It's
the private jet.
Tall boy,
couple
Bud Light.
Private jet, the Lamborghini.
Jacuzzi.
The basics, you know, the basics.
Yeah, right.
Fucking basketball court.
Best friends with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, best friends with Keanu Reeves. Mine would definitely have like a big, huge art studio space, place I can paint, right? Like probably in Soho, multi-leveled, like penthouse type of vibe.
Oh man, you're like 30 years too late.
Yeah, where one is like one floor is just for painting, the other floor is just for music, and the other floor is just for life.
For the chicks in the bikini.
Right?
You're like a department store.
Yeah. And then I got my yoga studio downstairs.
Oh,
and a museum, and my own museum.
Really?
Street level.
A museum of your?
Museum of Modern Arthur.
Wow. You thought about this. This is good. That's clever, I got to say.
Some of that he manifested.
Well, I already did that. I had
Oh.
one. I had Museum of Modern Arthur before, so
That's great.
It's going to make a comeback though.
That's a good idea.
Do you practice yoga?
Sometimes.
See, that to me is like the alpha and the omega of all that stuff. I mean, running is great too.
I
but
prefer Pilates actually.
Oh, I like Pilates too.
Yeah.
Where do you do that?
I've got a place over near where I live it's cool. It was in an old bar. They retrofitted the whole thing, and so it's a very New York kind of place.
Yeah. What's it called?
It was called Sal Anthony's Pilates. But
hey, let's go to Sal Anthony's.
Yeah, he also had a...
Hey, Sal Anthony's Pilates over here in Brooklyn. Sal Anthony's.
Exactly.
We got your Pilates over here, and we got a sausage roll.
He did actually have a restaurant as well.
Sal Anthony's Pilates and sausage.
That's a great name for a Pilates studio.
Yeah.
And they'll be like the original Sal Anthony.
Hey, get your Sal Anthony's Pilates and sausage roll.
He's enjoying this. He's riffing.
Well, we are making a podcast.
We got to keep it fun.
Yeah. So back to Perez Hilton though. So how did that happen?
Before that though, you just jumped from open mics to getting signed. That's
Maverick.
a big jump, and then being dropped after being signed. How does that bubble burst?
I always remember that on the Behind the Music on VH1. It always was like that. They were always like, they were playing some clubs. A few months later, they were signed to Geffen Records. And I was like, this is the part I need to know. How do you get from here to here?
Okay, so that was good.
Thank
you.
you.
So how did you get from there to there?
I mean, it sort of was a blur. I just played a lot. I started playing in LA, and then like friends of friends were coming, and eventually a person came who was like with a record label, and it was like so incredibly unsexy how it happened. It was just like
random. Yeah,
it was random. But it was like just from playing so many shows that eventually somebody was interested, and I was also getting way better as I was doing it, and How
many years was that?
I started doing it full-time 2002. I got signed in 2005, I think, and then re-signed in 2007, and then dropped in 2012 probably. I left. We parted ways. But I got to say, I was...
So you got signed
I've always
twice by the same label.
Yes, correct.
That's crazy.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and I mean, were you signed to a label? Yeah, you were.
Multiple.
Yeah, right.
Man, I've been signed and dropped so many times. Bro,
How many times?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to do a joke here. I thought that was a setup for a joke.
It was trying to be, but
Well,
then
I've been signed and dropped so many
Yeah.
times, I look like a...
a goofball.
But
Yeah.
you had major. You had Real World was major, and what was the other one?
that's
Virgin?
cool. You were on Real World. That's cool.
Real
man.
World, yeah.
Peter Gabriel.
Peter
Did you
Gabriel.
meet him?
Oh yeah.
That's what people always ask me about Madonna, and I never met her.
You never
so,
met her?
No.
Oh yeah, no. But with the Peter was like he mentored me.
Cool.
Yeah, I got to make like 3 records in
That's
the studio
awesome,
over
dude.
there. Yeah, I love that guy.
I
Yeah.
bet.
He's like a family member to me.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. But even that's like an
Yeah.
imprint, right? Like of a bigger.
That was an imprint of Virgin, yeah. So that was the confusion. I mean, Real World and me still play around. Like we're talking about doing
Flirting.
another. We still flirt. Like
Ooh.
every now and again, I'll throw another record out with them. You know,
Cool.
and like we're talking about doing something else
That's
maybe
great.
soon. You know, like
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
There's an active relationship there still. So it's not like they dropped me, but then labels that they went through did drop
Totally.
me, and then we also did fall out at one point, got mad at each other, but then we became
Sounds like
friends.
the Real World.
No, it was the Real World, dude. This is my behind
At
the music.
Real World.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'd say like major labels are kind of like, it's like having stay with me. It's like having a tiger as a pet, you know? It's like, it can go well for a while, but
Yeah.
eventually
That shit's
tiger's
going
going to do what a tiger does, you
I
know?
like that. That's a lot like, yeah, that's true.
Not to say it wasn't great while it was great, but eventually the tiger's going to eat me, man. You know, like
Yeah.
it's what it does. It's as
Yeah.
soon as I'm not, you know, I get it from a perspective.
But what do you do when it eats you before you even put your first record out? Does that like make you want to quit?
Yeah.
Nice segue back.
Thank you.
into
Yeah,
the-
you're keeping us focused.
back into the
Well, 'cause-
storyline.
Because he before you when you were with them before they dropped you, before the record label fell apart, did you already have an album recorded with them, or
No,
didn't even get there?
I was
yet?
making an album with them, and I got a call from my manager. Was like, "Hey, Maverick's freezing. Everything's on hold."
Oh yeah, I heard you were in the studio, and then they said you can't go in the studio and you can't stay at the hotel
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Like that type.
It was like I've
they
had.
pulled the carpet.
You're out.
There's been a couple of those experiences.
That's crazy.
in my life of just like, one day you're like doing something, the next day it's just all gone, and it's like, wow, like this stuff is fragile. I mean, I guess that's life in general.
I guess
but,
I should be doing something.
That is
else.
life in
Yeah.
general.
But yeah, I definitely felt like maybe this was a sign. Maybe I should try something else. They gave me some money to.
I can't.
go
That
away.
part I can't get with. Like how at 25 you got signed to Maverick or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. How you went there to like maybe that's a sign. I'd be like, yo, I'm the shit. This dumb label folded, but I'm still the shit.
Yeah, it didn't feel that way. I felt
No?
like, man, I blew it, and
Why? Like they folded. It wasn't like they dropped just you.
Yeah, but it felt like that was my shot. You know,
Ah.
like it felt like. But I didn't. I mean, I ended up not doing that. But I just felt like maybe this is just as far as it's gonna go, and I should, because they gave me a not insignificant amount of money to like close out my contract. So I was like, maybe I should just take this as like the money I made from music and do something else. But in the end, I realized that wasn't my thing. You know?
Right.
Again, though, like I was saying, because like I didn't really know, I didn't have a lot of artists as models, so it was like this is sort of weird territory I'm in already. I don't know if you make money or how it works, so I was kind of like, maybe I should do something a little more realistic.
I mean, I still feel like that every other day, just about.
Yeah, I agree. It's the fun part, but
It's
scary
stress.
part.
It's stressful, especially with a kid, probably, right?
In some ways, it's been more focusing, really. Like it's just like, okay, I just know what I need to do, and then the rest of the time is about being with her and stuff. So it's like, it's in some ways it's been good for me. In a lot of ways, in most ways.
Right. How old?
She's 18 months. So, and we took her on the tour bus when she was like 4 months old.
Oof.
Yeah.
That was rough.
How
do you,
long?
Do you have kids or no?
No.
Yeah. We took her for a couple weeks. That was hard.
That's
She was
rough
kinda-
at that age,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
You gotta wait.
Yeah, but we got the pictures. That's all that matters. We got the picture of her in front of the tour bus. But I don't know. It's focused me in a lot of great ways. Like, I think I do better when I'm busy. You know? So like, it's been helpful to be like, okay. I mean, there's times where I'm like, I would love to just lie here, and we have help and stuff. So like, I can't complain. But
What do you mean you have help?
like, we have a nanny.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. because my wife and I are both working and we have unpredictable hours and stuff. So the nanny is watching my baby right now while I'm here chatting with you.
That's amazing.
We're very lucky.
Yeah, that's
Very
great.
lucky.
So
We got the refills here. Thank you.
So the Maverick thing folds, right? And then when does Perez let's talk about the viral moment, because that's crazy. I remember when right around then he was like at the top of pop culture, man. It's hard for people to probably remember that, or like.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what the equivalent would be now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, it seemed like everyone was looking at it. He was this tastemaker for music.
Yeah.
He
controversial as well, right?
He was controversial because he was pretty
kind of
negative.
mean. He was mean-spirited.
But when he posted, so like a friend of mine just sent a bunch of my songs to him randomly, and he liked them, and so he just posted them, and with this little glowing review of the songs. And like overnight, I was in LA at the time, like doing a show, and overnight, so I woke up on West Coast time, and things had already like blown up. My phone was like going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like those. It was, you know, it was like
a dream come true moment.
It was amazing, but it was like, it lasted like maybe a week, and then things kind of like went back to normal on some level, but things had changed enough. Like we ended up getting, you know, a bidding war and stuff. It was all just because like overnight the music was interesting, and then, but that was like all people wanted to talk about for a long time, Perez Hilton. But he was really good to me, and I went and played some of his, I did like a showcase with him and at South by Southwest that Katy Perry was on. It was like nobody knew who she was. He was like, she was one of his favorites also, and like
I think I remember.
I didn't even realize it was her until like years later. I was like, shit, that was Katy Perry I met. That's so weird.
Yeah,
it was so weird. And I was like, she's just like this pop thing that no one's paying attention to, and
Took
I don't
a
know.
minute
It was
for
maybe
her,
a year
yeah.
later she blew up. But I don't know. It's like I always just saw I don't know if some people see me because of the Perez stuff as like I cheated or I'm American Idol or something. You know, to me it was just like this random spotlight that just shone
Why
on
do you
me.
think that?
I don't know. I mean, it was
Because
just
he's a blogger or whatever.
Yeah, or it's just like an untraditional way, or
yeah.
I don't know. But
it's no different than a song ending on a TV show and making someone's career.
I think
that's
so.
what I think.
I think
yeah,
so.
I don't think I think that might be more in your head.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just
I never heard about you and him until I researched you a little.
Oh, yeah?
So I knew about you from you. You know, it's probably all your new fans are the same. Nobody will go back to Perez.
I just sent the music to Perez. I got some new stuff coming. I sent it to Perez. I always keep him in the loop, and he's always been nothing but great to me. So I appreciate it, and it changed my life. So that stuff was really exciting, but also like weird. You know, I mean, like.
But you like landed in the Billboard charts and stuff too.
Yeah,
So-
it was like the album went into the top 10 of iTunes, which again was the most important thing, was the iTunes chart at the time. So like the album was like, it just reacted like instantly, and people took notice, and suddenly everybody was calling me who never called me back, and it was exciting. It was like, wow, this is actually coming together. This is
What would you
crazy.
say to somebody when they called you that they normally didn't call
Well.
you
No, it was like I don't think I was answering the phone. I think I was just letting everything just kind of collect. But it was crazy. It was like, Nora Jones' booking agent wants to start working with you, and blah blah blah. And it was just a lot. Like every record label was interested. They all wanted to have meetings, and it was.
But it paid off. You probably got a good booking agent and a good record label out of it, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, it was
what was the label that signed you?
Warner Brothers.
Warner's again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I had to sit down with the president and be like, "You guys just dropped me 6 months ago.
What did he say?
Sorry, man. Whatever. Are you gonna sign with us or not?" You know,
Right.
he didn't care. He's like, "It wasn't
Yeah.
my decision. That was different. You know,
Yeah.
you hadn't made this record yet.
Right.
So that stuff was interesting. I really enjoy being an independent artist though now, because it was hard being on the label. It took so long to do everything. You know,
Yeah.
like the time from when a song was written to when it came out could be years and
And
years.
you have to somehow coalesce everybody on the team to kind
Yeah.
of get behind you. They don't. It's a very political situation.
Yeah, just looking back on it, I've always sort of made a kind of pop-driven music and everything, but I'm not very like pop minded that way of like, I want to be able to do what I want to do. I like having
freedom.
A certain level. I like to think of myself more like a motorboat,
right,
compared to like a steamer or something. I'm big on analogies.
Well, you experiment with lots of different styles.
I have been able to now, because that's been fun to me. That's been one of the best parts, is like, I just feel like I can do whatever's interesting to me, and hopefully, and then that's what it is to me now. Where I'm at is like, this sounds really interesting to me. I want to figure out how to make it, and then once I make it, the challenge is, how do I like get other people to buy into this?
You need to have a story, and I like the concept of your new thing. The 90s.
Yeah.
And then also sort of autobiography of your 90s life.
Yeah, the album's called Class of 98, and it's all songs in the style of like Weezer and Green Day about my high school days. So it was really fun to make. It was like felt very natural to do it. And I realized afterwards it was like the album I wanted to make when I was like 16 and playing guitar, and like I just didn't know how to yet. So like I kind of like got to go back and go through my journal and like finally make that record.
Yeah, how liberating was that, and how fun was that to just go to like, because that style of songwriting is so fun. I'm like from that too.
Yeah.
So it was
fun to really like get in there and study it, and like, oh, these chords, like, oh, they go from like this to this, or like that's so.
Yeah.
And it was just fun to sort of. I like to work within. I'm really enjoying different genres and stuff. Like there's certain parameters, and then like it's within that gives you like a certain guideline of like, well, this is something I could do, or this is something that wouldn't really work in this world. And there was lots of stuff from high school to write about, so it was fun.
How'd you come up with that concept?
I don't know. I was probably on a run, for real. Like it was one of those. More and more, I feel like the things come together as like a whole concept now, where it's like, okay, it's these kinds of songs about this stuff, and then it's just like I said, the most exciting part to me now is like, what's something that I don't exactly know how to do yet, and like, how can I put it together and make it work?
Do you meditate?
Not as much as I would like. I have a thing where like I like meditating and like being like, oh man, if I was by a beach, then I could really be meditating well right now. But like, and then I'm like missing it. But I try to meditate more on the road actually, because the day's so hectic. I find if I can do it a little bit before I go on stage, it really makes a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you meditate?
I do. Yeah.
How often?
Well, I do a yoga practice every day, so there's always savasana like at the end.
Oh man,
and
savasana is the best.
And I hang back always. I'm always the last person to leave. Because
why should we? Is it a New York thing to be rushing through the end or something? It's like,
I don't know.
You should be able to pay $15 extra and just stay there for an hour.
They let you stay. I mean, they always let you stay. You can easily meditate for 10, 15 minutes,
Yeah.
before like there's a cleaning crew in there.
Yeah, savasana is the best part. I mean, that's, to me, is the whole reason I go to yoga.
Yeah, the idea is that you like exhaust your body enough to where you can calm down and meditate. So
Right.
I always do that. But then lately on this like last tour, I've been like actively just taking time out to meditate before a gig and stuff
Right.
like that, and like in the morning too.
I think there's just so many I definitely like, you hear meditate, you got to be like Om, and you're like in the pose, and
There's all kinds of different ones.
I know, but meditating to me more and more is just like anything that I'm doing that I'm fully invested in, and I'm not thinking about anything else.
Right.
Like playing guitar for many, many years was very meditative like that for me. Like when I was a kid, because I was like, that could just get me away from everything, and I could just sing and play. But now it's more like, okay, I can lie down. I can just sort of find a moment to myself, kind of.
Yeah, or becoming the witness. Like metacognition. Are you familiar with that term?
No.
School me. It's the idea that like we're the only animals that have the ability of metacognition, which is like we can, apparently that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not making up these theories. Yet, exactly. No, but we can observe so it's like if I'm afraid, I'm like, who's afraid? Who's asking who's afraid?
Totally.
You keep up level. Keep being the witness. So meditation is like getting into that witness consciousness over and over again, I guess, or observing your breath, or like a mantra. Like, are you familiar with Ho'oponopono?
No.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It's a Hawaiian mantra that sort of releases. It can help release trauma, and if you have a problem with somebody, and within yourself, you just apply that mantra to it.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's all you need.
It's
really.
very healing. Yeah,
The Hawaiians have it figured out.
they do on this one. So that's a good one. That's a good one to check out.
Okay, what is it again? Can you say it for-
Ho'oponopono. It's like H-O, and then apostrophe, and then O-pono-pono.
Are you all Googling it at home?
Yeah.
Ho'opono.
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'opono. Yeah. I've been playing in Hawaii as much as possible now. I'm trying to go back, and hopefully we're going to be back in January 2021. But I feel very much at peace there whenever I'm there.
Why do you go there?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? But what led you there?
I started because I was doing a thing where I was playing the last states I'd never played. I was like, I thought I was retiring maybe.
Man, you're always quitting.
I know. I'm very like absolute about stuff.
You're like, I'm out.
I felt like I think I'm gonna be.
You only
done
got
with
one
this.
foot out the door.
Yeah, and
You actually announced that you're taking a break.
Your
Yes.
wife wouldn't let you.
that's true.
She wouldn't let you say retirement because she's smart.
Yes, she's smarter.
What's
than
her
me.
name?
Jill.
Shout out, Jill.
Shout out Jill. So I thought I was gonna quit, but I was like, I've got 5 states left to go before, like, to play all 50 states. So I made a tour of just those states, the uncharted territory, and I went and played those. And one of them was Hawaii. And man, I was just so taken with Hawaii. I just got it, So I stayed there a little longer, and then I went back and did another show there. And now I'm just like, this is part of what I want to be doing with the music, is like the music taking me places that are inspiring to me, but also, like maybe people don't go as much. And
Right.
so I'm trying to do some.
Did you get a crowd out there?
Did all right.
Yeah?
Did all right.
That's
you know?
cool.
Yeah. Have you played in Hawaii?
Never.
Dude, you got to go.
I want to. Do you surf?
I don't. I tried it there though.
Yeah. It's hard to get on the board.
Yeah, it was more arm work than I expected. That was the main thing I noticed. I actually was listening to the Stephen Jenkins podcast you did, and he was
Oh, really?
he was talking a lot about
He loves
surfing on
surfing.
here.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Maybe that'll be my next thing. I don't know.
Listen to the Chuck Prophet one. He also goes
He
into
surfs
surfing.
also?
Yeah.
Chuck tried to teach me how to surf because we do this thing in Mexico. Peter Buck has this festival, Todos Santos.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about Peter Buck, man. I went through like a recent crazy R.E.M. phase that when I was thinking about quitting, like I found so much inspiration in R.E.M.
Right.
And so I'm kind of like
What's your favorite R.E.M. record?
I think Automatic for the People.
Oh, okay.
But I got way into the older stuff that I hadn't really known that well. I watched the documentary, and I just found them really inspiring. Of sort of, they kind of just did whatever they wanted.
Yeah. I like Reckoning a lot.
What songs are on Reckoning?
Second one. Pretty Persuasion. I think 7 Chinese.
It's like cooler to say you like the earlier stuff, right?
It is, but I'm with you on Automatic.
IRS stuff is like cooler than Warner stuff.
Well, but that's
just by definition.
That's true.
It's just different. Yeah,
That's true, but that's when I got into them, so that's why.
What's the song I heard? I was like, this sounds like the Smiths, but it's not the Smiths. I realized they're sort of like the American Smiths in the early days, in my opinion. But like, what was the song? I can't remember it now, but I heard it, and I was like, what is this? And it turned out to be R.E.M. And I was like, this is so much different than like what I'd sort of thought of as R.E.M., which was much more 90s and like shiny happy people and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, everything after Out of Time was different from everything before that.
Totally. And that's part of what I appreciated about them. And I saw something where they were talking about like, this is what R.E.M. does and this is what pop music does. And every now and then R.E.M. like connects to it and sometimes it doesn't. And I found that really calming.
Yeah.
But all this to say, how'd you get to meet him and how does that happen?
Well, I used to do like a residency in Seattle when I was first coming out, and he would come. I mean, thing about Peter Buck is he's got a huge amount of enthusiasm for music in general.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I feel like that's what he celebrates through all of his projects. I mean,
right.
right now he's got like 10 bands. You know, I'm in one of them, which is great.
Cool.
You know, like,
Which band is that?
It's called Arthur Buck.
Okay. How'd you come up with the name?
So yeah, we put out a record.
Actually, that sounds familiar now that you're saying.
Yeah, like
cool,
a
dude.
couple years ago, and then we just finished our second one.
Awesome.
Jackknife Lee mixed it, so we're looking for a label for it, or we're gonna put it out ourselves.
Fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And you toured with R.E.M.
And we toured. Oh yeah. Oh, and then I toured with R.E.M. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got to open up for them in Europe.
Wow. What year was that?
It was when they were doing Around the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
And that was incredible because I was doing it on my own, playing arenas, just solo. Yeah,
that's so
yeah.
Ed Sheeran of you.
Yeah,
you know? No, but there's something really cool about that where you can.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you
I was
can do
looping
that, you can do
as
it
well.
anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. But they were really nice. I mean, like Michael would introduce me, so that's a cool. You know, most headline bands don't do that.
Yeah.
And then at my last song, Peter would come out and play with me. So it was like
it was the beginnings of Arthur Buck.
Yeah, it was. So I had like, you know, they gave me a serious leg in.
That's awesome.
You know, like
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a question I get a lot, but I feel like you got some good answers for it. Like, what is when you think of like the zenith moments of your musical career,
right?
What comes to mind? Does opening for R.E.M. come in there or no? I mean, that's a pretty good one to impress at like a cocktail party.
Yeah, that's a good one for that. But you know, I don't know. I think if I'm authentically answering that, it would just be like in the sort of transcendent moments of performances.
Yeah.
You know, like those times when you're just really in the flow.
Well, that's like the
know?
dirty secret of the music business is those are the best parts. The other stuff just helps you get to those parts more. But
right.
But there's just things when you look back, you're like, wow, that was me. I actually did that thing. You know, I was there.
Right.
Do you have something like that or no?
Opening up for Ben Harper at the Bercy in Paris in front of like 17,000 people. Like,
that's cool.
That is one of them I remember.
You do well in France?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they've always embraced me. It's been that gave me a career.
That's awesome.
My first album came out and did really well there, and then everywhere else it was like pretty much a struggle for a long.
Interesting. You're just French.
Time. Yeah, I have a French spirit.
I love that.
Joseph Arthur. That's what they call me there.
Sounds great.
Joseph Arthur.
Well, that's the best. Everything's better.
Joseph Arthur.
Can you speak any French?
Do you ever tour over there? No. Un petit peu.
Okay. Good. Convincing.
Have you ever toured over there?
Not in France.
Je m'appelle Joseph Arthur.
So yeah, your songs are never in French, right? Like you're just
Ça va?
Yeah, I get it.
Ça va?
I get it though. It's like your music has a very specific mood to it. I feel like, and like that is.
It's the French mood.
Yeah, but it's like
turns out.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome, dude. I've never been in. I've been to France, but never done music there. I would like to. But
have you toured in Europe much or
a
not
little
really?
bit? I played in
England.
My first record did really well in Australia, so I went there and New Zealand and played the UK a little bit and stuff. But like it was always about America. Like there was so much in the beginning. The mantra was just, if we can break it in America, we'll break it everywhere. Just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned down I was supposed to go do some shows in Japan. I turned it down to do some more shows in America, which I highly regret.
Yeah, I've never played in Japan either.
It's supposed to be awesome.
Yeah.
What's your zenith moment?
I don't know. I mean, things that like sound cool on the resume or whatever. We opened up at the Staples Center. I did a whole tour with Kelly Clarkson, which is not the same as R.E.M, but Kelly was really awesome and the crowds were huge. And
Staples Center?
Yeah, we did 2 nights at the Staples Center.
That's incredible.
It was just things to be like, that's so weird that I was there, you know? Like it's more like it wasn't really me or something, you know? It doesn't actually change things. But that's what I was talking to my band about the other day. Like, this is my theory, at least. You tell me what you think. Like, there's a certain, like you're talking about, there's a certain transcendent energy that, like, the exchange with people on stage, and that same energy is this purest. It could be with 40 people in the room. It could be 400. It could be 40,000. But I don't think the feeling actually gets exponentially better based
No.
on how many people are there.
No, I was just telling my friend yesterday, like, it's like, because I did a house concert yesterday, and it was like, it's harder. That's harder. Like, a house concert to me is harder than playing in front of like 70,000 people at a festival.
Right. Well, you
know?
can see each person responding to it.
Well, also, like, when you're playing in front of a lot of people, like thousands and thousands of people, there's such a huge, like, fourth wall. Like, you're just a character in a movie at that point.
Right.
Like, but when you're in a room and, like, in front of 10 people singing your heart out through, like, a fucked up PA.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's hard.
It is hard.
Like, that is hard.
Well, it's also, I feel like
You
people
know,
take you
like-
as, they take you as seriously as the environment.
Well,
So it's
exactly,
like,
too. So you're like, like, so when you're in front of like 4 people and like
This living room keeps getting smaller and
broken
smaller.
PA, yeah. When you're in front of one person and you don't even need a PA anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, likewise, if you're in front of thousands of people, it's like, well, that guy must know what he's doing.
But I'm convinced, I'm just convinced there must be nights where Bono comes off stage and he's like, man, that crowd was so flat, you know? Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
even though no matter what, it seems like if you're at a show, it's like everyone is jacked for this U2 show. But I
No.
just feel like you get used to that level. Eventually, you can sort of see the details in there. Of
No, that's absolutely true. In fact, I remember that from touring with R.E.M. is that they would sometimes have those kind of like, oh yeah, that was kind of a weird, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, even on that level.
Yeah, and that was
They
something
noticed
it was
things
so
like
important
that.
for me to see, you know, that like
Yeah.
because when I was younger, especially, it was like, well, if I can just get to this or play this place or get signed to this, then I'll be happy. Then things will make sense. Then everything will be easy. And it was so important to go and be like, oh, I'm opening for this band, but like nobody showed up here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work, you know, no matter what.
And
you
so
know?
now, have you learned through getting older to enjoy the moments? Like, because I went through so many years of exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's so much what drives it in the beginning.
It's trained me now to just really appreciate now. Like,
Yeah.
when I go out and tour now, like, even though it's like, you know, I just did a little Canadian run, little places, cool. People came, it was fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was a vibe. But, but like, I remember back in the day, I'd be like, well, this was like a means to an end.
Totally. I would be on stage playing a place, thinking about the next place we were going to play that's going to
Right.
be even bigger.
But now I've kind of cured that because of just becoming older and living longer, knowing, okay, these are the moments.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
This is the point.
This is the point. Do you get to that place?
No, not at all. No, I do actually. I think that's what I.
It's work to get to that place.
Yeah, and
though.
that's
Be Here Now.
yeah,
The Ram Dass.
yeah.
You-
I read this book, Wherever You Go, There You Are.
Yeah.
That one's
Who
good.
wrote that?
That's John Kabat-Zinn, who's like
okay.
a big American. He's Americanized a lot of these ideas, but yeah, I think that's the part that I love the most about what I do now is sort of the spreading of goodwill and this idea that like I have a job where I get to go entertain people and make them feel good, and I have so many people that feed that back to me of like, this is what your music is meant to me, or this is what it does, and like that exchange is so much more important to me now than like what chart position or whatever else, you know, like it's just it's why I do it. It's like I do it because people are there and the connection and that experience. And my favorite thing is hearing, you know, people singing the music with me and it having me this connection.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Totally. 100%. Yeah. Are you touring now, or what's
I just did some West Coast dates. I don't know when this is going to air, but yeah, I've got a tour coming up on the East Coast. It starts at the end of April. The Class of '98 tour.
Are you playing with a band or solo?
Yeah,
or
we're doing like a power trio thing, and
You kind of need it for this record.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not really a solo acoustic jam. Well, it could be.
But I do think I'm going to do some
MTV
unplugged shows. Yeah.
That's 90s too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's all, I mean, I just love the '90s, so everything is like, oh, it's perfect. Like,
Yeah.
There's a there's a hidden track on the new album because my manager, I was finishing the album. He's like, if it's a 90s album, you got to have a hidden track, dude.
That's great.
And I was like, that
14
is
minutes
genius.
after the last song.
We tried to put it late, but they were like, it's not going to really work in the Spotify world, but it's late enough that you might miss it, you know?
That's funny.
Yeah. And I don't know. I like touring, but like in shorter spurts, you know, like I used to be out there for 2 months at a time or something, and I would kind of lose my mind.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that stuff, but like, I need some sort of regularity, I guess.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go on a long run.
How long?
Well, I got 2.5 months.
Oh God, did I just freak you out?
Opening up for Greg Dooley on his solo.
Cool.
You know, Afghan Wigs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's put a new album out.
Put a new solo album out. Yeah, so I'll be supporting him, and then also being in his band.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Should be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on a bus, so that'll be,
Yeah.
you know, that makes a big difference.
Big difference.
You know, it's just like, okay, and lock in. I mean, thing about something like a long run like that is it just kind of, you like get prepared for it, and you make it into like this, like, okay, I'm gonna run. We're already planning yoga.
Good.
Like, yeah, like, you know, like that's the modern touring.
It's like camp.
life.
It's fun. I mean,
Right.
there's something amazing about
Like
tapping
camp.
into that
That's a
world,
good-
you know,
Yeah.
and everyone's in the same thing, and you're all going through it, and there's these ups and downs.
And you
like,
know it's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be challenging, but that's
Yeah.
part of the fun of it. Like, okay, this is like, it's like boot camp or
Yeah,
something. You know,
for
you like
sure.
get into that zone with it,
Yeah.
and then you make it into fun.
Yeah, definitely. And there's, I mean, that part of it is awesome, and I never went to sleepaway camp and stuff, so I feel like that part of it is really
That is sleepaway
yeah,
camp.
it is, and you're actually making, you know, that's your job.
I know
to
that's
go do that
important to you
stuff.
too, like with the believers and stuff like that, right? Like
Yeah.
you having that like the camaraderie or whatever within the music. I heard you talk
Yeah,
about that
for sure.
too.
It's funny, the Believers are taking a break right now,
Right.
so I'm doing a slightly different thing, but yeah, it's sort of at the same time. A couple of them were like, I can't go on the road right now. I'm sorry. So
Right.
I'm sort of finding a different thing, but that has been so important. I just toured solo for so long that
Right.
learning how to play with a band and finding the people to like surround myself with, I mean, that changes everything, obviously.
Yeah, I had that too at a time with the Lonely Astronauts. That sort of collaborative, like friendship, like
Yeah, I mean, it's a band.
hippie, like going out and taking mushrooms and
The Lonely Astronauts, you have good band or good names for stuff. you
yeah,
know, like,
thanks, man.
that's good.
Yeah.
What are some other ones you've got here?
Um,
Museum of Modern Art.
Oh, Fistful of Mercy.
Ooh,
With my band with Ben Harper and
R&DM.
Danny Harrison.
nice.
Yeah.
R&DM with Jeff
R&DM
Ament.
with Jeff Ament.
So you got tons of bands.
Tons of bands.
That's cool.
A lot of 90s bands. R&DM.
There were a couple other
kinda
ones.
were
The
90s.
Actor,
The Actor, yeah. That
Holding
never
the
came out.
Void.
Holding the Void, yeah.
I can name a few more.
Yeah.
Name one more.
What was the one with Russell Simmons that never came out called? Sorry to bring it up.
Oh wow.
But it
I
had a name.
actually asked Lou Reed what we should call that band, and he said, or I said, give me a band name. He said, Coos.
Coos. How do you
Coos.
spell that?
Cooz. Coos. It's
cool.
like it's old school slang for vajayjay.
Oh, got it. Could have been also named Vajayjay.
Yeah.
And that's from Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a good one.
What about
Yeah.
Modern Happiness? I know you just finished that. But
Yeah.
was that like a concept album to you as well? There were a lot of topics.
Yeah,
a lot of heavy topics. The religion in there.
Yeah, I feel
and-
like concept album is a sort of a dirty word. People are like, no
Why?
thanks.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I just feel like people are like,
I always do that shit.
good. I like it.
Yeah.
But I just like I said, I sort of like working within some sort of like, okay, this is the point of the project, as opposed to just I'm gonna get a bunch of songs together. It's like, okay, well, all these songs are gonna sort of deal with Modern Happiness. I made after I thought I was sort of retiring, and I
Again.
that was the same time. That was only twice. That was only twice.
This guy.
That
You
motivates
you
him.
can't keep him in the business.
It does. It does. It is true.
I've
though.
decided I'm retiring now, just hanging out.
You're full of it.
I'm done.
You got too many bands to quit,
I'm
dude.
announcing my retirement 45 years from now. But
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I want everybody to be prepared for
It's
it.
very like Elton John of you.
Yeah,
you know?
45 years from now, I'm going to retire.
From now on, everything's the farewell tour with Joseph Arthur.
Knock on wood.
45 years to go. Get your tickets.
Yeah, but then you'll be there. See, that's a good idea.
Yeah, get your tickets.
I just enjoy ideas that are like, man, like, have you heard this album by, he's a comedian. His name is John Benjamin, I believe, or John H. Benjamin. He does a bunch of vocal, like, over voice
Is he the voice of Arthur?
He's the voice.
John Benjamin.
Yeah, John Benjamin. So he did this album where he got all these jazz musicians together, and he's going to play the piano, and they're all like, straight ahead cats, and he gets them all in the studio, but he doesn't tell them that he doesn't know how to play the piano. And so they start. You got to listen to the record. It starts, and they're all playing, and then they stop for his first solo. And it's just like, ding, ding, ding. And it's a whole album of that.
Who put it out?
Somebody cool put it out, like Sub Pop or something.
Oh my God.
But
that is fucking genius.
Yeah, and the most genius part is what's more jazz than that? Like, that's the most jazz shit ever, to like not know how to play the piano.
Holy shit, dude.
I don't know that I'm gonna make that album, but like that idea, like that's the kind of idea you have sitting around like high as shit, but then somebody actually did it. I'm like, that's the cool part of it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I forget what the album's called. I think the album's called I Can't Play Piano or something.
That's fucking hysterical.
So like that sounds fun to me, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. But
yeah, well, that one's already done.
Yeah, it's taken.
He nailed it.
He did.
I can't wait to hear that.
It's especially fun to listen to with musicians. Like non-musicians kind of hear it and they're just kind of like, this doesn't sound very good, but like. but
if you're in on the joke.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And I think they might have even made like a little documentary and they're like showing the band and they're just like playing along because it's their gig.
That's my favorite new thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are you doing any comedic things or anything? Are you going back to that filmmaking thing ever? Or what do you think?
Sort of always thought I would, but
you look like a film director
right now. I think I'm on set
because of the ball cap.
Yeah, I only wear a ball cap when I'm running.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, we're gonna need a tighter shot here. No, I don't know. I'm pretty busy right now. I've thought I would get back into that, but I've got all these friends that actually do it, and I see how hard it is and like how many years they've put in. It's like one of them being like, I think I'm going to be a musician now. And I'm like, I mean, you can, but like there's a lot to learn. So I sort of, I get my kicks doing like the music videos and things like that.
What else do you think you're going to do? Like, because you keep threatening to retire. We're waiting around for
I'm not retiring anymore. I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good. Wait.
Are you going to like?
No, I'm still here.
Are there any other other career paths you have or any other ambitions?
I mean, I'm always interested in
anything like that?
Yeah, I love writing. I'm always interested in what else is around the corner. I mean, that's part of the fun part of what we do, right? It's about being an artist. You sort of chase what's exciting. So I don't know. I love food. I eat it every day. Are
you a cook?
I cook at home a lot, yeah. But I don't know. One idea I have.
What's your specialty?
Scrambled eggs.
Come on.
No, I don't really have a specialty, I believe. I just enjoy. I enjoy.
What's
like
on the menu if I come over to your house for dinner? What do you?
What do you like to eat?
What would you normally make?
I think if I'm gonna like pull all the stops out, I'll make like a brisket or something.
Okay.
Like I enjoy like a big dinner.
That actually sounds delicious.
You Jewish or no?
No.
Joseph Arthur, not Jewish. Okay.
No.
Maybe we won't do the brisket.
Ehud is
then.
though. He's from Israel.
Yeah, I'm Jewish.
He was in the Israeli army.
Really?
I actually cooked in the Israeli army.
See, that's what I realized I would do if I was in the army.
His bare hands.
I was stuck in some base
Yeah.
where they left us in the middle of nowhere, and supplies would come like once a week, and then we just have to cook for ourselves. So that's where I got the little knack for it.
I find there's a real.
Ehud's good at it.
Yeah, you're good.
He's
you
good
make
cook.
Israeli
I cook
food?
at home every day too. Yeah.
I did an album with an Israeli piano player, and she just wouldn't stop talking about Israeli food and how much better it was than all the other food. And I mean, I can't argue with her, but there's a lot of Israeli pride, which I appreciate.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
But I think cooking is in a lot of ways similar to being a musician. There's a similar thing of like planning it, executing it, and then
presenting
it to people, you know.
Yeah.
Like, except I get to eat it at the end, which is the great part.
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't know if you have any ideas. I'm open to a new career thing.
I'm just curious because, like, you know, like with all this technology coming out about how they can extend our lives and everything like that.
Man, that does not sound good to me.
Really?
I don't want to live to...
You don't want to live long?
Not 120 or something. You
No?
know, like, not real. I mean, maybe only now. It sounds cheesy, but like just with my daughter, I guess I'd like to be around to see what's going on. But I don't know. It sounds too long. We're not made to be that long.
You don't think so?
Do you think we are?
I think so. I think I'm going to live to be 520 years old.
And I could see that.
Yeah.
For you, but not for me. You're going to be doing your... That's when you do your retirement tour.
You'll have plenty of time after retirement if you're going to make it.
520 years? I mean, we're talking 2,400 something now. Like, you want to live in 2,400?
I want to see what it's like.
Wow. I mean, sure, I like to see what it's like.
What do you think happens when you die?
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you really think so?
Yeah.
You think it just ends and it's darkness and that's it? Void?
I don't think it's void. I think it's the same as it was before I was born. It's neutral. I find a lot of peace in that personally.
You think it was neutral before you were born?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you believe in reincarnation or?
I definitely don't think this is just going to end. Like, right. I feel like this is a spirit going somewhere like that. I don't know. I don't think death is the end. I think it kind of like, have you ever messed around with psychedelics or anything like that?
No.
Or like,
no.
Nothing like that.
Should I? Have you done like ayahuasca? Ayahuasca is more interesting to me, kind of. I want to throw up when I'm having a moment.
I smoked the toad.
Okay. An actual toad?
No, like there's the DMT that comes from the toad. I did that with a shaman in Mexico.
And?
Yeah, it was incredible. I found like everything was love.
Right.
Like it was like this ritual, like we were all like gathered around, and then like people would go and smoke it, and then they would like various things would happen. Some of them would freak out, some of them would like throw themselves into the ground.
Right.
And I went and did it, and I was like, I just felt like this overwhelming sense of like everything is okay, everything is love. There's nothing but love, and there's nothing to fear at all. And then I did it again, and I like disappeared into like I died. Like basically I like became into a point of nothing that became into another point of nothing that went into nothing, and I was like, okay, I'm gone. And I literally thought I was dead, and then I came back, and I was so grateful to be back. So that was really heavy.
It sounds informative to like your experience.
Yeah, well, it definitely lets you know that there's other energies going on. There's other like entities, you know.
Right.
There's other realms that we're not sort of privy to that we can visit through these like intense experiences.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And they're healing, you know. So I think that's what happens when you die. You go into like, you kind of blend in with God or consciousness or something, and you sort of like your egoic self, I think, dissolves probably, like your identity. But I don't think like, I think we go into bliss.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope so too. But so yeah, I don't really care if I live to be 520. I'm just kind of joking around.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that in terms of this, like we can do multiple careers in our lives now.
Yeah.
Even if we don't live to 520, like just with a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And I think like getting older, like having the, you know, the sort of good fortune to be able to get older and still be healthy. I'm just exploring other facets of myself other than just my identity when I was like in my 20s and stuff like that. So I'm just curious too, because especially you're celebrating like your sort of identity and through the 90s music, and I think that's cool. But like I'm just wondering if like as you're getting older, like if other avenues are opening up.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, part of I think why I realized when my dad passed away, he had this massive career change in his life, and which came on by a bunch of different reasons. But I sort of I think felt I realized then, like when he had died, that like I think I always felt like I was supposed to change careers, kind of, because that's what my dad had done. I sort of felt like, okay, that's what you do. Like
what did he do?
He was a contractor, and then his business kind of dissolved, and he went back to school. He like went back to school as like a 50-year-old with a bunch of 20-year-olds and started to like learn about the internet and web programming and stuff. And
so that's exactly what Andrew Yang said people wouldn't be able to do, like learn how to program.
Really?
Well, he was talking about truck drivers and stuff, but that's interesting.
But so he did that, and then was like in a totally different world. And I think I always kind of subconsciously felt like I'm supposed to blow everything up and go do something different, and I tried to. Like I really tried to. I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to explore all the other things that I love. And out of that stuff really came like this thing of I've spent so much time getting good at this thing of music.
Right.
And again, like the thing I really got out of that exploration was like the gratitude of like, I feel so lucky that I get to do this.
Right.
And that people appreciate that I do it.
Right.
And like, why would I try to get rid of that? You know, like, but that being said, like, yeah, I love coming up with different kinds of projects and things. I just feel though, like I know how to express myself the most through music. So like when I have an idea, the chances are that it's best expressed that way. But like I want to really write a musical. That would be something. That would be like separate, but still within the world. I want to do that too. All right.
Absolutely.
What are you going to write a musical about?
Well, I have this album called The Ballad of Boogie Christ, and I feel like that's just like ready for Broadway. That title right there.
You should just go perform on the street.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have the album, the concept, but I just need to write a narrative around it.
That's cool. Well, I'm learning that's the hardest part. Like because I've been trying to find someone to write the book, they call it, and apparently nobody wants to write the book because like it's hard.
Oh, really? You've been actively seeking that?
I've been trying to find someone to do it. But
for which one? The 90s thing?
No, I'm just trying to find a new idea to write. Because that's, to me, like
ground
I feel
up.
Like, yeah, I think it'd be fun. I think it would be a different muscle to work.
Yeah.
And it's a different way of writing, too.
And if you get a hit, man, that's like endless money.
Then I can retire.
Then you can retire.
Then you can finally quit.
What would the concept be?
I'm not sure. I'm looking for something interesting. I sort of feel like musical theater is inherently kind of silly and ridiculous. Even though I do love it, it's like everyone's up on stage singing and dancing, and there's that fourth wall and all that stuff. So I find that I really like musicals that are kind of ridiculous to begin with, like Little Shop of Horrors and Urinetown was really, really great if you ever saw that one. And so I'm interested in an idea of a show that's like a little ridiculous, but still also grounded in good music.
Did you watch Springsteen's thing?
No, I haven't seen it. Couldn't get tickets when it was going on.
Well, it's on Netflix now.
So you can watch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did. I went to it.
Okay.
It's a better watch on Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Depending on where you sat when you went, but
I think it'd be a cool experience though with all those Bruce heads. They're all just going crazy in there.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did the Broadway musical so simple because it's like,
yeah. It's like I don't count that quite as a musical what he did, but
right.
I mean, I guess it is.
It is though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was scripted.
Yeah.
But it was a lot like, just stories, in and out of the songs and going deep into nostalgia in his past. And
Does he
like
start
that.
every song? He's all in 2, 3, 4. It's just him acoustic.
yeah,
every time. Do you remember that Ben Stiller sketch like years ago?
No.
The Ben Stiller show. It was just the stories, Bruce Springsteen, and it was just his stories, and then it ended always 2, 3, 4.
Oh, right.
It was just all this. I was walking down the street the other day.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've only seen him once in concert, but it was transformative and so changed the way I do my shows completely.
How so?
I just loved how loose the show was, but it was very scripted, obviously, but it felt loose to the crowd, and like,
right.
It just was a reminder that like it's all about having a good time up there, and that nobody in the crowd's gonna have a good time if you're not having a good time, and just it starts there, creating that atmosphere on stage.
And how do you go about making sure your spirit's in a state where you can do that night after night?
Well, a lot of it for me has to do with surrounding myself with a band that's that has got that kind of spirit, and just like knowing that's what I'm there for. That's the point of the day, is to like come out there and do this thing. And it's I actually think that being on stage is often like yoga, where like you sometimes start off and you're like, oh boy, I don't know if I got it today. I'm stretching, and then by the end it's Shavasana. It's all you always feel good at the end. Like I just like I'm actually very still and quiet after a show. Like I think it freaks people out. And this, I've been made fun of because like we'll get off stage and I just like to sit there and not talk or not do anything.
Right.
I'm not like doing blow yet or anything. But some people come off, they're like, yeah, going crazy. But I'm like very internal, and also I've just been working and like singing and all this stuff. So like I like to have a moment back to myself. So it sort of is a bit of Savasana, I guess. Yeah,
it's interesting, the energetic thing that happens, and then going out to the merch stand and shaking everybody's hands and all that. Like, sometimes I'm in a weird zone, because I've just been on stage. Do you find that?
Somebody said that to me the other night. They were out there like taking a picture with me, and she's like, "Is it weird that like you're you and we all wait here and like you come out?" And I'm like, I mean, not really for me. Is it weird for you? And she was having a moment. I'm not sure what she was going through, but I was like, it's funny that like people want to meet me and that taking a picture with me feels. But again, that's the sort of stuff that I really cherish now, is like, if I could take a picture with somebody and make their day 1% better, like that's a pretty powerful thing to have. So like the best is when I'm like, you want to take a picture? And they're like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. Be here now. Right. Exactly.
Did that take you a while to learn, or that sort of gratitude for those moments?
For sure. Yeah. In the early days, I was always like, I should be getting more. And I don't know if that's just being young or ambitious or whatever, but it was like, I need more. I should be getting more. I should be playing bigger. I'm owed blah, blah, blah. And
I know.
That was why I probably wanted to quit, honestly. It was like it was a never ending hole,
Yeah.
And now it's just so much more about like sort of service to the music and the exchange, and I just feel very lucky.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit, if you're okay, about your dad and the dystrophy he had, and raising awareness for it?
Yeah, my dad had myotonic dystrophy, which is a form of muscular dystrophy, and he was diagnosed when he was around 35, 40. So it was like there's a later on adult onset version. And I mean, the long story short, my dad didn't know a lot about it. There wasn't a lot of information out there. My family didn't talk about it really. And I just grew up there's no cure. It's a degenerative disease. So sort of, he got diagnosed, but then his muscles got weaker and weaker over time.
And your family didn't talk about it?
No. He, to his credit, in a lot of ways, he was like, I don't want to be treated differently. I want to just go about my life. I want to do my thing. But as he got older, it became harder and harder to sort of ignore it. Yeah. But so like I got to a certain age where I was like, oh, all this anxiety I'm having is because I knew that I might have the disease. I hadn't been tested. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how to like talk about it. And so I spent several years kind of learning about it and unpacking it and becoming involved with the Myotonic Foundation and just starting to reckon with it kind of, and that it had been this big thing in our family.
How did the reckoning go?
Crushed it, bro.
Yeah.
No, I mean, well, I was extremely lucky.
Did you go to therapy? Like, that's what I mean.
Did a lot of therapy, and I got tested, which I came back negative actually, which was, sort of a shock to me. Like I sort of was so expecting my whole life that I was going to have it, and sort of a lot of stuff tied in with like, am I becoming my father? And
you had a complicated relationship with him, huh?
I mean, we had a good relationship, but he was just getting sicker, and it's just a different thing to have a weak parent like that, like literally physically weak was just a different thing that I grew up with that I didn't really understand until later. But
what way did you understand it later?
Just how that changed who I was and how it changed the family dynamic, to have sort of this paternal figure who was not capable of doing everything or who was sick, just changed how I dealt with the family and how maybe I led things. And
Did you become kind of the leader of the family?
sort of. I'm the oldest of 4, so
Right.
I think I'm sort of naturally a little bit of a leader. And
You have brothers and sisters? Or?
yeah, 2 sisters and a brother. And I think the main thing that came out of it, though, was I started meeting other people in the myotonic world. And you can learn more about myotonic dystrophy at myotonic.org. But meeting people in the community was huge because it had been such an isolating thing for us. We didn't know anybody else. It's a relatively rare disease. And meeting other people who had different relationships with the disease and were able to maybe have fun or joke about it or like kind of just
validate your experience
Yeah.
too. That's so huge.
Yeah.
To
So
be.
it was there's a lot. It was a long time coming, and I think it freed me up in a lot of ways where I felt like there was always this thing sort of in the way, and I was just trying to go around it instead of through it.
Do you think running is like a reflection of like your sort of celebration of your well-being in your body at all, like that?
Sometimes I go to an exercise class where the guy says like, we're going to run extra hard today because not everybody can. Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I would think about my dad and stuff then. Like, I do think, yeah, you can't always do it. So like,
Right.
there's, and my dad was like a really big bicyclist in his healthier days, and he was very active. So yeah, I definitely feel this thing of like, all of it, do it while you can. You know?
Right.
So, I don't know. It's been, I'm in a smallest position, but I am able to kind of give a little bit more light to it. And a big part of a cure for myotonic and everything is just getting more attention on it. What I've learned getting involved with the community is so much of all this stuff is the drug companies go to whatever like is the most popular sickness or whatever. That's where the pharmaceutical wants to be. And so you sort of have to have enough attention around your disease that the drug companies want to come in and
actually
try to fix it. You know, so it's interesting. Like it's very political and, but just like I said, if I had been able to hear someone else talk about it, you know, like every now and then I hear from people and who's either are affected by it or their family is. And if I'd been able to hear anyone talk about it when I was younger, it would have been so helpful to feel like, oh, right, this is not just me. And just to have answers. That was the biggest part. Our family was very much in the dark about it, and just understanding it, learning it was so huge. And I was luckily able to make a lot of peace with that and have some important conversations with my dad before he died. And I think it made his passing different too, because we'd sort of, I think as a family, kind of come to terms with that part of it. It wasn't about that when he died, you know. We were able to celebrate his life.
But you got to have some good conversations with him.
Yeah, and I have a song that I wrote about him called Hands, and I played it for him, and and that was a really important moment where we got to.
Wow.
I think he felt very seen, and I got to show him that I understood his struggle, I think. So
how does that song go?
It's on my Modern Happiness album, and it's singing from his perspective. And I didn't realize it till I was playing it for him that I had written it to play it for him. Really, like but I haven't played it since he died.
Wow.
I don't know if I will or not, but it doesn't feel like something necessary right now.
I'm curious what the lyrics are, but I don't want to put you on the spot.
Well, it's just talking about it's sort of a song of hope,
Right.
but from the point of view of a disabled person, and sort of treating me with respect, even though I don't know what I'm capable of. I'm just going to try, you know. And I learned a lot of great lessons from my dad about that sort of stuff. Of he was extremely I want to say stubborn, but that's not the word I'm thinking of.
Proud,
and just had a lot of determination and really worked through it, and like I said, never wanted. The last thing he wanted to be was seen as disabled or something. You know, he was all these other things. So I don't know. That's sort of it in a
Heavy.
Yeah, it's
That's
a lot,
awesome.
but that's such a thing of right. Is like we never talked about it because it kind of makes people serious, and I've tried so much to just get it to a place in my life that it can be discussed without it being
like a big
without
like
it being
big,
this shadow
heavy
or something.
vibes. Yeah,
You know, like I mean, it is serious.
it's
but
heavy, but you can also speak on heavy things without it getting.
I mean, it's sad because it's my own father, and I have a lot of emotion tied into it. But I've tried to get it to a place, sort of clinical, like a doctor would talk about it, of just like these are the. I got away from words that were sort of judgmental, like, oh, his condition's really bad, or it's worsened. Like, and I tried to use words that were more like severe, or words that were more clinical as opposed to judgmental.
Isn't it funny? Like, yeah, it's like how powerful words are and how sensitive you got to be towards words.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, I think that stuff really made a difference of like, if you're always walking around being like, oh, I'm really bad about, it's
dude, I program my subconscious all the time. I sleep with the Ho'oponopono mantra going. I love you. Like for 8 hours, dude. I have there's ones on YouTube, or I'm working on programming my subconscious all the time through words.
Well, it does. It just totally affects it differently. You know, it's the world is what we make it. It's like the oldest idea ever, but it's
first was the word, and like the words create reality. You know,
right?
People don't over or underestimate that, or what? I can't think of how to say that.
They
underestimate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. People don't underestimate that shit much anymore. What?
But I agree. It's like a word diet or something. It's like you got to be aware of what you're putting into yourself. You know, it's like if I keep saying these words or this stuff, like that was a big thing. I made a rule for myself. I couldn't write songs anymore that were where I said anything negative about myself.
Right. That's a big deal because you manifest that shit.
And I was like, I write these negative thoughts about myself, then I go out and I sing them every night for everybody.
Over and over again.
And I was like, I'm just done with this pattern, you know?
Right.
And that was several albums ago. So it informs the way I make music, but it's been like, the new song on the new album is called Cooler Than You. And it's sort of like looking back at like a bully.
I like that one.
Thank you.
That's how it opens.
Yeah, but it's like, I think in the old days that song would have been called Cooler Than Me, and it would have been all about how the bully is better and I feel less than.
Right.
But now it's about like, well, how do I find something positive in this, I guess.
Yeah. I like the new song I'm working on right now, which goes like this. I love the fact that I have $500 billion right now.
I like that.
Do you?
That's good.
That's the chorus.
That's the chorus. Okay. Yeah.
The verse is, check out my mansion. It's killer.
Well, we're back to your vision board.
Yeah.
$500 vision board.
Check out my new jacuzzi. So stupid. Wait, what about what do your siblings do?
They are not in music.
No, what do they get after?
They've all got master's degrees. My sister's a teacher. My other sister is in business. And she got mad at us because she sat the family down and went like person to person and was like, what do I do for a living? And nobody could like quite
I still don't know what she does.
Yeah, me neither.
She's pissed at me.
Business analyst.
She hated it when I didn't know what she did at the family dinner. No,
yeah.
I don't know what that is.
So, and then my brother is like an urban planner. So they're all, changing the world in their own ways.
And has the passing of your father brought the family closer together, or has it been separate?
I think it was the end of a chapter. It's been hard on my mom, and it's been different for the family for sure, but I think things are getting sorted out. It's, I don't know. I'm still pretty fresh, so still like understanding it. But I think one of the few positive things that kind of came out of those really initial days when he was dying was the family was really together and really connected, and there was actually some really wonderful moments that I really loved where the family was all there and nothing else mattered. It was like, this is it.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of thing. But
where does everybody live?
My sister's here in New York. My other sister's down in Maryland where I'm from, and my brother just moved out to Seattle. So we're kind of all over.
All over the place.
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, you also produce.
Yeah, when I can.
In a way, and a band that I really like, Scout, you produced
Yeah.
one of their albums. How did that, did just from Laura being at SNL, is that how you met?
Yeah, it was
This great band from Brooklyn called Scout with a K. Scout.
Yeah, which is sort of Laura Volk's like band, but it's sort of her, but also Connor Gladney's in it as well. And somebody at SNL was like, "Hey, this person works here and she's a musician. Would you mind checking it out?" And I was like, yeah. And then I actually went and watched the video of her like shredding, and I was like, wow, this person's really good. And so we like met up, and I ended up producing the EP, and I've learned a lot. I don't know if you ever do any producing stuff for other artists. I've just found it really helped my own stuff as well, because it's so interesting to be the producer in a room as opposed to the artist, and you can really see when somebody is like getting in the way of their own work or going down the rabbit hole. And it's helped me be like, I'm a lot less precious with my own recordings now, because I'm like, this thing, I'll have this moment where I'm like, okay, we can all spend 2 hours getting this right if we want to, but like as long as we know that no one will ever notice it except us. But like that might be the reason to go do it, but like it's changed. So like I'm just not nearly as precious about like my vocal takes and things. I'm more like, it's more about the moment and capturing the overall vibe. But yeah, working with them was awesome, and they've come and Scout's done a bunch of opening stuff for me, and they did the Underwater Sunshine stuff, which is, I'm assuming, how you got to know them.
No, I actually got them that gig.
Oh, did you? All right. Yeah, man. You're the magic maker.
Oh, he's a magic.
I brought them in. I mean, you see these two when they play, there's just something about it just sucks you in, and they were so good, and I invited them to come do a garden session, and then everyone fell in love with them instantly.
Cool. Yeah, they're really awesome, and it was really fun to do their stuff and kind of just help. That's what's fun for me, actually. They've gotten much more advanced now, but I feel like they were still kind of green when I was working with them. It's fun working with someone where they're like, where I can just show off my tricks. They're like, man, how do we do that? We need to get like 100 people in here to clap. And I'm like, no, we can actually just have 5 people and record it a bunch of times, and it'll sound like 100 people. And I'm like a magician to them, you know.
That blew their mind?
Not exactly. But something like that, you know. They
don't get out much.
Yeah. But you forget, like so much of that stuff you just have to learn. Like,
no, I remember like when I first made my first record, and Marcus Straves was producing, and he like would mute like the drums and then create like a drum hole and then bring them back in. And I would remember thinking like, wow, that's how you do that.
Right?
Like, yeah. So
all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I was really blown away in the beginning of working with like some big producers and stuff, and some really big time major producers.
Like who?
Not really huge people, but Mike Elizondo was someone I learned a lot from. He actually came up doing like, he was like Dr. Dre's apprentice, and then he did like he's done all kinds of stuff. But he was at Warner Brothers when I was there, and we did a lot of my second record together. And it was like, it was just interesting to watch a professional work and be like, okay, this is how they carry themselves. This is how they work with their staff. This is how we record. This is how long we spend. It was informative, you know. Like I just learned a lot.
I got to work with T-Bone Burnett.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you do an album with him?
Yeah. My
Nice.
second album.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
Incredible.
He's very much about like capturing the moment.
Yeah,
right?
and also just I found it like he gave me so much confidence in my ability. Like it was he taught me that production was like a psychological thing.
Right.
As much as anything else.
Totally.
And I think that's like why he's so successful, is because he has the ability to give so much confidence to an artist.
Yeah, I mean that's like producing an artist is like getting them to be their best version of themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is hard.
Yeah.
That's cool. Who else did you work with? Did Peter ever do an album with you?
No, not really. No, we wrote a couple songs together, and he sang on my first record.
Cool.
But yeah, I when I produced, I was curious if like my ego would be as like into it as my own thing, and I found it was. I mean, I got into the other person's thing.
Yeah.
I'd say almost maybe even weirdly more than my own thing. you know?
Yeah, I sort of,
like
I found I cared a lot, but like I said, I found this thing of, like this is not what's going to make or break the record. This thing, you know, like it was more about the overall feeling, and I'm like, we can get all these details if that's going to drive you crazy or whatever, but it's really more about like, is the vibe there? Yeah. So it's changed how I make records for sure, because I'm doing a lot more live tracking and just kind of about like, does this feel good?
Well, yeah, John Leckie, I got to work with him as well. He produced like the Bends, Radiohead, and like Stone Roses.
Cool.
And he taught me that the more you get down in one take, like of the whole thing, the better. The less overdubs, the better, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So when's the class of '98 come out? Because there's only 2 songs.
Yeah,
out
we got
right
2
now.
songs out. The album comes out April 17th, and then it'll be out. And
we'll make sure this is out before then. So
cool.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Help complement it a little.
It was a lot of fun to make. It was a very natural process, and to me, it's like I feel like I'm getting closer to. Here's what I wanted to make, and I'm getting closer to like hitting the bullseye. Like before, I used to like. I feel like my first album was like, here's what I want to make, and like maybe I got the outer ring if I was lucky.
Yeah,
10
that's the
points.
way I usually.
Yeah.
That's how I am a lot with it.
Yeah, and I just feel like this record was. I mean, obviously, it ended up different than what I thought it might be, but I just feel like it was what I was setting out to do, which was like I want to make me doing a 90s record, you know, and so it was really fun. So so far the reaction's been really positive to it, and I think if you were around in that era, or if you like that era at all, I think people will enjoy it.
Everybody loves that era.
It's great music.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then any other concepts you're working on for in the future, or are you just focused on this?
The next thing I think I want to do, I'm sort of just in the very, very early stages. I want to do, sort of feels like the next step of what I was talking about with like not writing negative songs. I want to do an album of like overly
positive,
positive, optimistic songs.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and so like just like almost like almost your teeth hurt, but just like that are grounded in like love and not just like silliness. But
well, when you listen to like the Beatles, they had lots of like love, positive things.
Totally.
It's like, you know,
and just
I think the '90s like. Kurt Cobain was such a huge influence, and so a lot of us went towards like really expressing our pain.
Yeah,
and, like,
there's a lot of pain.
There
was a lot of pain, and you know, like when I talk about the stuff with my dad and stuff, I'm like, I understand where a lot of my struggles came from and what my personal stuff was, but I also just think it would be fun to make an album that's like really positive, and that. But again, like that's the challenge to me is like, how do you make a positive song that doesn't feel trite or like silly or something?
That's a big challenge.
So that's kind of what I think would be a fun project to do. But for now, I'm way in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, Dave Catching and I, like, he came on this podcast, or we went out to him at what's the place called?
Joshua Tree, Rancho de la Luna.
Rancho de la Luna. Shout out Dave Catching. But we came up with this concept of we're going to start a band called the Manifestors and just write songs about things we want to manifest. Like,
that's the $500 billion
$1 billion
idea.
in the billy, you know, whatever it is. You know.
I like that. You're good at making bands. Like,
yeah, I love making bands.
Yeah.
Maintaining them is a different story.
Harder, but I mean, half of a band is who's in it and what's it called. You know, like the rest is details.
Yeah, the Manifestors.
That's a good one.
Yeah, maybe you can be in that band with us.
I'm going to.
Since you're already on that
I'm going to manifest it.
You're on that trajectory already. So, how do people find you on the internet and all that?
Just Google me, Eric Hutchinson. I don't know. Go to my website, erichutchinson.com. My Instagram. That's where I kind of communicate these days. And
Eric Hutchinson.
Yeah. You do all your social media yourself?
I do, yeah. And I try not to get too intense. I'm not like a 10 times a day poster or anything, but you know, or come see a show. It's a good way to get to know me a little bit. So I don't know. Hopefully people have if you're still listening at this point to the podcast,
Yeah.
I think that
Class of '98 tour coming
I
up.
feel like
You
it
are
was
a
a good
fan.
podcast.
It
Oh,
was
me too.
Fucking great.
Did you think so?
Oh,
would you
it
guys
was-
say, you can be honest with me, would
But
you
I
say
knew
this is
'cause
the best one so far?
The two of you have
Really,
so
honestly,
many
probably
similarities.
one of the best ones.
Number one.
So many similarities that I knew you would like.
Yeah, thank you
get
for. I was
along.
saying, thank you
Yeah.
for inviting me. And,
Yeah, yeah.
and,
I'm mad that I didn't wear athletic gear, but I kind of like stripped down. Into
I know. I
more-
just noticed this.
more of
Slowly,
an
you're
athletic vibe.
Yeah,
so
you're,
you could
you're showing
see.
off your physique more and more. Yeah, you're jacked, dude. I saw the pictures, man. You got a full 6-pack right now, too?
right now.
Yeah, dude. Let's
Probably.
see. Oh, wow. You're fit, man. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Manifest it.
Yeah, I'm manifesting it. Holy shit.
The manifestors.
But yeah, thank you
Cool.
guys for having me. This was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. It was great to
Dude,
get to know
thank you
you.
for
Yeah.
doing it. It's really good to know
Yeah.
you. Yeah, let's
How can they find you? We should make sure they know
at
that.
Joseph_Arthur on
There we go.
Instagram.
Yeah, and if they are listening, please support us on Patreon.
Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/come to where I'm from.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Enjoy.
Eric Hutchinson.
Later.
Peace. Hi, this is Joseph Arthur. Thanks for checking out Come to Where I'm From. Please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/come to where I'm from. We are an independent podcast, and any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated.